Okay, so we're back for part two of the equipment review rundown. So yeah, leaving off from where I was, MP10 wave machine. So yeah, I went for one of these. First one I've had. The one I had on my Nano was the Jabo I did before, like I say in my last video. For the price, really good. It gives really good flow, strong flow for the price. £65, 4,000 litres an hour, and there's lots of different modes on there that you can change to pulse, to sort of surging up and down, to random or continual flow. Yeah, it's been reliable. It's about 7 months old now, 7-8 months old. Yeah, it's been really good. So the MP10, I went for the MP10. Which is continuous flow, 6,000 litres an hour, and obviously the different modes as well. There's slightly different mode arrangement to the Jabo. You've got this one, which is like a pulsing, ramping up real quickly. There's lots. I'm not going to go through them all, but there's lots of different modes you can set it to. And it's a nice controller, looks good, and the pump. What's nice about this is the pump is on the outside, well, the motor's on the outside, the cable's on the outside of the tank, so you get nothing hanging in the tank. It's just sort of put the cable up discreetly around the back of the cable tie, and you got the wet side with the propeller, which is they're just magnetised together through the glass. They're quite expensive, these Ecotech Vortec MP10s. They've got a mouthful, the name, but this one's the first one they do. They do a 10, they do a 40 and a 60, I think, and obviously the higher the number, the more powerful they are. There should be enough flow for this tank. Would I go for they're £230? If I had to, would I get another one? Probably not. I am going to add another one on here just so I've got plenty enough flow at my disposal, sort of thing. I'm going to add another. I'm going to go for a Jabo again. I think for like £100 you can get an RW8, which is like, I don't know, 8,000 litres an hour, twice the power of this, for £100. And I'm going to mount it in this corner. Actually, no, I want to move this one, the RW4, over to this corner, and the 8 to this corner. What's nice about these, although you've got the cable that comes into the tank, they do magnetise the same way. You've got a little magnet on the back of the tank, and the power heads inside. What's nice is the magnet on the back so low profile, you can mount it on the back. You couldn't do that with the MP10 because the motor's on the back and it sticks out quite a way. There's no way that would fit. So that's what I like about these Jabos. They're cheap, high power, nice controllability, and you can fit the magnet on the back. So that's what we're going to go for in that corner. But I think I'm okay photo-wise, so there's no rush to get that. So moving on, that's the MP10 covered, the lights covered. I have to move down into the sun. First piece of equipment on a reefer, or any reef system really, is skimmer. Is an important piece of equipment, and my only advice is to go for the best one you can afford. There's no good cheaping out on it because you'll only end up down the road replacing it for something better, so you end up spending twice the amount of money. But this one is the Deltec SC1351 with a DC controller, controllable pump. It's running just over half power here. It's quite new, this system yet, so I'm yet to review it. So far, awesome. It's really doing its job right. So I'd highly recommend that. This particular scheme is rated up to 500 litre tank. This is what, 250 litres, so a bit overkill, but it's better to go that way than the other way, than just cover it. You know it's going to perform well. Heater wise, the bottom one is a digital 300 watt heater. That does all the heating on this tank. and does it well. It's hard, you know, you look in it, it's hardly, when it does kick on, it doesn't kick on for long, and it turns itself off, and most of the time I look in there, blue lights up and it's off. So it's not struggling at all. 300 watts. I think they recommend like 150 or 200 watts for this size tank, but you always go that little bit more, so it doesn't struggle. And that's this other one, this TMC one, digital one, is just a backup. So if the big one fails, this will kick on and keep the temperature up. And obviously it's got a nice screen, so when you open the doors of the sump, you can see exactly what the temperature of the system is. Polishing the water with carbon is Bubble Magnus Mini 70, I think, reactor. Yeah, that does the job. They're cheap, about £50 I think, and obviously you got your carbon to go in there as well on top. But what's nice about these is it's just all one unit. It's got a pump in the bottom, and it's just literally plug and play. You plug it in, put your meter in there, so it sponges up so it doesn't tumble, and it just overflows the top. It's a nice, cheap, easy, simple way of running carbon, and it's got a low footprint as well in the sump, so it doesn't take up loads of room. So phosphate removal, gone for the Phosban Reactor 150 by, I think it's a Julian Sprung company, Two Little Fishes or whatever it's called. Yeah, that's great. The only thing with it is you do have to run it with a separate pump. You have to buy a separate pump, so the EM 600 running it there, so the water comes out of skimmer, hits that pump, it's pumped up into it, and returns back into the sump again. What you've got to think of is space inside the sump as well. I've mounted this externally, so I've got more space in there, because when you open these drawers for the filter socks and water change to replace the socks, you've got to make sure there's enough room so you can get the drawers open. I did it initially have it, if you see in my previous videos, it actually in the sump, but not enough space. So that's where it is now. It's mounted on the side. That's a nice feature, you can actually mount it, you get the bracket in the box. Dosing, I've gone for the TMC Easy Dose system, and I thought it's going to be a nightmare to program this, like some of these devices can be, but no, it's been really simple. It's basically 3 pumps, and you can set up and program each pump to deliver however many millilitres at whatever time of the day. So at the moment I've just got 1 pump running for alkalinity. It does 2 ml every hour. I'm dosing calcium and magnesium manually per week, and I see what they're using down. But yeah, there's a whole load of dosing pumps on the market. So this is the first one I've had, and yet to see its reliability. But it seems to be very accurate at dosing the right amount of fluid. So yeah, so far so good with that. And the containers, it's a 3-chamber dosing container which stores your solutions. 1, 2, 3 chamber. I think that's made by TMC as well. Yeah, what other equipment I've got to review is the return pump. That's it. In the back, the last chamber of the sump that returns all the water back into the system, into the main display tank, is a Waveline DC 4000, which is a DC pump, and that's the controller just there, and that is great because I've got that set to about 2,500 litres an hour, so I've got scope to go up and down. I'd recommend going for it. It's so quiet, you can hardly hear it running. DC stuff, and it uses less electricity as well when you go the DC route. The main plus is everything's so much quieter. The skim is very quiet because of the DC pump. And that's where a lot of your noise comes from your skimmer and your return pump. So yeah, I'd recommend going that route for your return. Don't just go for how many litres it says recommended. So if they say it's 2,000 litres an hour pump recommended for a return, don't just go and buy an E-Heim compact 2,000 or something, because you're going to need a bit of scope to tune it how you want it, up or down. So yeah, I'd recommend going for something larger, and if you can afford it, go for the DC because it's a lot quieter and controllable. Yeah, so we're 11 minutes, coming up for 11 minutes in now. So that's about it really. Any other questions you've got on the system, just ask me, and I'll try and answer them as quick as I can. What I'm going to do now is just let the system stabilise. Say the rock and fish stock and that's all quite early and new in, so I'm just going to let it all settle down now and just keep testing, make sure my nitrates are at 0, phosphates are at 0, my calcium is between 450 and 500, KH, alkalinity is at between 9 and 10.5, the magnesium 1350, 1400. So yeah, I'm just going to keep testing everything and making sure everything's nice and stable. And then once everything's been going off a few weeks and I've got no nitrates still after feeding loads, because I'm not sure after feeding these chromis really like feeding, they need to be fed about 3 times a day. I don't know what the nitrates are going to go to, so hopefully they don't creep up too high. They shouldn't do, they're at 0. So yeah, once I'm happy and I've got those other 2 dose lines running on the magnesium and calcium, once I'm happy everything's really stable, I should start adding some more corals. I'm going to go some more SPS up the top, not sure what yet. So yeah, that's about it really. Like I say, any questions you've got, chuck them in the box below, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.